goalball, yeah, it's become such a big part of my life because it's such a huge passion of and one of the things that I absolutely love doing. How did I get into it is a good question. So I think it was about a couple of years on from when I lost my sight. So about the summer of 2011, that sort of time. I was about 21, and I just wanted to try some visually impaired sports. I was not particularly, I enjoyed a kickabout with my friends and stuff growing up, and I enjoyed cycling and keeping fit. But in terms of playing competitive sports, I wasn't particularly sporty, I think it's fair to say. I'd sort of shy away from PE at school and all that sort of thing. But I thought that it would be fun to see what visually impaired sport would be like. Now I can't see things properly. How would it feel to play football? How would it feel to try? Yeah, football was the main one I really knew about, so that's the one I tried to focus on at first. And I brought together a lot of local people around Cambridge, like close to where I lived, and tried to get something up and running, but found it, for one reason or another, found it to be pretty tricky to set that up at the time. So then the local council said, hey, there's this other sport called goalball, let's try that. And I think, yeah, that's sort of how it went started, really. We did a few taster sessions, and the joy of a sport like goalball is that you don't need many people to be able to play a game. And also people can be sighted and play it as well, because you wear shades, everyone's on the same level. So I think we had a father and son took part where the father was visually impaired. There was me and my girlfriend at the time. She was fully sighted, so me being the visually impaired one. So we didn't have that many visually impaired people playing it at first, but the club has grown from that point quite significantly. I really enjoyed it, and we had London 2012 that gave the club a big boost, with the sport getting a lot of exposure. A lot more people got interest in it off the back of that. Significantly, the local club got a lot of funding, and the club's grown to be massive, the one in Cambridge. It's a really lovely, vibrant group of people. It's a community in itself. So the benefits that people get from being part of our local goalball team are far bigger than the obvious physical benefits. It's the mental sort of benefits you get from being part of a community like that. It's the peer support amongst a group of like-minded visually impaired people who are just getting on with day-to-day things. You can learn so much from just traveling from one city to another with other visually impaired people. And I think that sort of rings true from my own experience of being involved with goalball as well. For instance, when the Cambridge club was still growing, I went to play with the Nottingham team for a bit, so because the Cambridge club didn't have teams at different levels and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, I was playing with the Nottingham club for a bit, and I learned so much through being part of that team and mixing with other young visually impaired people of the similar age to me. So if you're out somewhere late in a city and you missed the last train or something, how do you deal with that situation? I learned about things like that through being part of the sport as well. And staying in hotels, how do you remember which room you're in? And oh man, so many things. VICTA, I learned about VICTA through goalball, through the community that goalball has built up. It was through friends at the Nottingham club who told me about VICTA. They were like, oh yeah, there's this organization called VICTA. They run all these fun sort of trips and activities and all this sort of stuff. They're a good organization to get involved with. And I think a lot of those positive benefits that I was talking about with regards to goalball, and the benefits you get from peer support, being around other young visually impaired people, I think that rings true for VICTA as well. And I think there's a whole world of positive things you can get out of goalball. I think one with the Cambridge team, for instance, our Cambridge team is run predominantly by visually impaired people. We went on a trip to Malmo in Sweden just before February 2020, so just before the thing happened. And we did it all as a bunch of visually impaired people. We flew out to Malmo, came back, and had a good time out there, and took part in this tournament where there were lots of other visually impaired people from across Europe coming to it. And it just really opens up such a vibrant community of people being part of things like this.